Elon Musk was born in 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa. As a child, he was not like other kids. He was extremely quiet and often found himself lost in his own thoughts. In fact, he was so introverted that his parents and doctors once thought he might be deaf. Young Elon had an insatiable curiosity. He would read books for 10 hours a day, finishing entire encyclopedias. While other children were playing sports, Elon was teaching himself computer programming. At the age of 12, he created a video game called Blaster and sold it for $500. However, his childhood wasn't easy. He was often bullied at school, which taught him a tough lesson about resilience. Despite the difficulties, he had a clear vision. He wanted to move to America, the land of opportunity, to change the world. At age 17, Elon moved to Canada, partly to avoid mandatory military service in South Africa and partly to get closer to the United States. He arrived with almost no money and worked hard, manual jobs like cleaning boiler rooms and cutting logs to survive. Eventually, he moved to the U.S. to study at the University of Pennsylvania. After graduating, he moved to Silicon Valley just as the internet was starting to explode. He had a choice: find a job or take a risk. He chose the latter. In 1995, Elon and his brother Kimball started a company called Zip2. It was a digital version of the Yellow Pages, a searchable business directory with maps. It wasn't an instant success. They didn't have money for an apartment, so they slept in the office and showered at the local YMCA. This period of his life was the ultimate test of persistence. Hard work finally paid off. In 1999, Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. At age 27, Elon Musk was suddenly a multimillionaire. However, instead of retiring to a private island, he decided to reinvest almost all of his money into a new, even more ambitious idea. He co-founded X.com, an online bank. This was a revolutionary concept because at the time, people didn't trust the internet with their money. X.com later merged with a competitor to become PayPal. Although PayPal was a massive success, Musk faced a huge setback. While he was on a flight for a much-needed vacation, the board of directors fired him as CEO. Imagine that, being fired from your own company while you're in the air. Instead of becoming bitter, Musk stayed focused. When eBay bought PayPal for $1.5 billion in 2002, Musk walked away with $180 million. He was ready for his biggest gamble yet. In 2002, Musk founded SpaceX. His goal seemed like science fiction. He wanted to make life multiplanetary by colonizing Mars. Most experts thought he was crazy. They said space exploration was only for superpower governments, not private individuals. To learn how to build rockets, Musk didn't just hire experts. He read textbooks and taught himself rocket science. He traveled to Russia to buy refurbished rockets, but they were too expensive. He realized he could build them himself for much less if he innovated. However, the beginning was a disaster. SpaceX's first 3 rocket launches failed completely. The rockets exploded before reaching orbit. Musk had invested $100 million of his own money, and he was running out of cash. This was the most stressful time of his life, but he refused to surrender his dream. He had one last chance. While SpaceX was struggling, Musk turned his attention to another passion: sustainability. In 2004, he invested in a small startup called Tesla Motors. At the time, Electric cars were seen as slow, ugly golf carts that no one wanted to drive. Musk's vision was different. He wanted to prove that an electric car could be faster and cooler than a gasoline car. He became the chairman and later the CEO, taking a hands-on role in the design of their first car, the Roadster. The project faced massive delays and costs were much higher than expected. The world was skeptical. People laughed at the idea of a battery-powered sports car. Critics called it a toy for the rich and predicted that Tesla would go bankrupt within months. Musk was now fighting two battles at once, one in space and one on the road. The year 2008 was a nightmare for Elon Musk. It was his darkest hour. SpaceX had failed for the third time to launch a rocket, and Tesla was losing money rapidly. To make matters worse, the global economy crashed, and Musk was going through a painful divorce. He was down to his last few $1,000,000. He had a choice. He could split his remaining money between SpaceX and Tesla, or focus on just one. If he split the money, both companies might die. If he gave it all to one, the other would definitely fail. It was a classic dilemma. Musk decided to put everything he had left, every cent, into both. He lived off loans from friends just to pay his rent. He was working 100 hours a week, sleeping under his desk, and facing constant humiliation in the media. Critics were writing Tesla Death Watch articles every day, waiting for him to fail. Everything depended on one last rocket launch. In September 2008, it was do or die for SpaceX. They had enough money for exactly one more launch. If the fourth rocket failed, SpaceX would be finished and Tesla would likely follow. The pressure was immense. Engineers worked around the clock, and finally, the Falcon 1 stood on the launch pad. The engines ignited, and this time, everything went perfectly. The rocket reached orbit, making SpaceX the first private company to put a liquid-fueled rocket into space. This success saved the company. Just 2 days before Christmas in 2008, NASA called Musk with a miraculous gift, a $1.6 billion contract to fly supplies to the International Space Station. On the same day, he managed to find more investment for Tesla. Against all odds, both companies survived the year. Musk had proven that failure is just a lesson on the way to success. By 2012, Tesla was ready to launch the Model S. This wasn't just another car. It was the world's first premium electric sedan built from the ground up. Musk wanted to destroy the stereotype that electric vehicles were slow or had a short range. The Model S was a total disruption. It was beautiful, fast, and could travel over 265 miles on a single charge. It also featured a massive 17-inch touchscreen that controlled almost everything in the car, making it feel like a computer on wheels. Critics were shocked when the Model S won the Motor Trend Car of the Year award in 2013, the first time a car without a gasoline engine had ever won. Tesla also began building superchargers, fast charging stations that allowed owners to travel long distances for free. Musk was no longer just a struggling entrepreneur. He was becoming a global icon of innovation. He had turned a failing startup into a company that made traditional car giants like Ford and GM nervous. For decades, rockets were disposable. You would launch a rocket, and then it would burn up in the atmosphere or crash into the ocean. This was incredibly expensive, like flying a Boeing 747 from London to New York and then throwing the plane away after one flight. Musk knew that to get to Mars, he had to make rockets reusable. The world's top engineers said it was impossible to land a tall, thin rocket vertically on a moving ship in the middle of the ocean. But Musk didn't listen to the skeptics. After many dramatic explosions and near misses, SpaceX finally succeeded in December 2015. The sight of a giant rocket returning from space and landing softly on its legs changed history. It reduced the cost of space travel by 100 times. This breakthrough made Musk's dream of a colony on Mars seem possible. He then unveiled the Starship, a massive spacecraft designed to carry 100 people at a time. His ambition was no longer just about profit. It was about ensuring the future of humanity. Today, Elon Musk is the wealthiest person in the world, but his influence goes far beyond money. From his early days in South Africa to the year 2025, he has transformed multiple industries. His company Starlink now provides high-speed internet to the most remote corners of the Earth using thousands of satellites. Meanwhile, Neuralink is testing brain chip implants that could help paralyzed people walk again or treat neurological disorders. Looking back at his journey, there are 4 major lessons we can learn. Failure is an option. Musk often says, if things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. He doesn't see failure as an end, but as data to improve. Unwavering persistence. When he was down to his last dollar in 2008, he didn't quit. He worked 100-hour weeks because he believed in his mission. Read to lead. His childhood habit of reading everything, from encyclopedias to rocket science manuals, gave him the knowledge to challenge experts. Think big. While others focused on short-term profits, Musk focused on the survival of humanity. Elon Musk's life story proves that a single person with a clear vision and the courage to take risks can truly change the course of history. The question is no longer will he succeed, but what will he do next?